Welcome back to Crafting the Madam K Way. So this is my final video for this Doctor Who notebook that I'm making. I've added some silver detail to the windows and to the words on there, and also added some black dye to the lines to really emphasize the design here. I used the Angelus metallic silver, which this is a really good paint, but I find that the silver, I had to put a lot of coats on it to really get the silver color. And they still have a little bit of a blue tint, which I think looks really cool on this, but it wasn't my full intent. I wanted a more solid blue or solid silver, but it turned out really nice looking. Then I used the satin acrylic finisher on top of everywhere where I painted, just to make sure that that really sets in, and that's going to help seal it and make sure that it doesn't chip off. And I found that that's been working really well. So I like that. Now I'm going to put my final top coat on this, which I'm going to use the Fiebings Aussie leather conditioner. I've played around with a lot of different types of sprays and resilines and things, and this is one of the ones that works the best as far as really softening it up, because notice that this is a very stiff notebook. So as I'm putting the leather conditioner on there to seal it, I'm going to try to really just rub it in there and make sure that it gets down deep into the leather and hopefully softens this up a little bit so it's a more pliable notebook. I just use my hands, and I have some gloves that I just got from the dollar store. They're just regular dishwashing gloves, and I actually think that these help because of the fact that they have, like, I don't know, see how that's kind of textured on the gloves, and that almost kind of massages the leather and helps get this, work it into the leather. So I really think that works out. Another thing to notice that when you're using the Aussie's conditioner is it's going to actually darken up some dyes. So again, this was dyed with the EcoFlow Evening Blue, which is a water-based dye, and the end result is going to actually be a little bit darker than what it just was a second ago, which is okay. So what you just need to do is, as you're dyeing it, keep that in mind. So if you want to go a little bit darker, just stop one shade light of what your final result wants to be, and then that way when you put the sealer on, it gets you that final result. Now, I'm not going to rub too hard on where I painted because I don't want it to come off. In the past, I've had that be an issue, but now that I've started using this satin finisher, it hasn't been an issue. But just to be safe, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on where I painted. Now I have this nice and coated both inside and out. Some people will let it sit. I prefer to just sort of keep working it in for a while. And I'm going to just sort of just play around with it. You know, get it, bend it around, loosen it up. And this is going to really help that final notebook be a lot more pliable than what I just showed you. So it's already, you know, naturally opening up a lot. So just sort of butterfly it, move it around. You're not going to hurt it. And just like when we wet the leather to form it, this is going to sort of do that same effect. So once I have this all buffed out, I'll probably just set it up in that book shape to fully dry to make sure that the edges don't curl again and everything stays the right shape. Okay, so this is definitely softening up a lot. I can even bend the spine. So very soft now. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a soft rag. I got these off Amazon. They're actually, you can get a 5-pound bag of t-shirt scraps off Amazon for like 25, 30 bucks. And they really come in handy. They're very soft, they're the perfect size, and they're really thick too. I've tried buying cheap t-shirts and cutting them up. And if you get too thin of ones, it just doesn't get the right results. So get a nice thick one and it's a lot easier to work with. And I'm just going to gently buff off any excess. Notice how much darker it is now. It's going to pretty much stay that color. Then the inside's a little bit harder to buff off because it was so rough. So that's going to probably take overnight to fully dry and not have any waxy finish to it. So that'll lighten up a little bit. That's really dark because it still has a lot of excess. But now notice the book very easily opens and closes. So that's going to make a much better experience when trying to write in it. You never want to write in a stiff book that you have to hold open at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so I'll set that up and just let it dry for a little bit, and then I'll put the notebooks in it, maybe set something on top of it just to hold it closed but not heavy, and let it dry overnight. And that is the finished Doctor Who Police Box notebook. So the final blue is very Doctor Who colored. It's very nice. So I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. Okay, thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them in the bottom. You know, I'd love to hear some of your tips and tricks because we're all learning this together. And it may not be the right way, but it's the Madam K way.